Alright, Schlockmeisters fans, we're going to watch a horror movie from the 80s that I've never seen before. A slasher called Sweet 16. Sweet. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with a dream sequence, which has nothing to do with the rest of the film. That's Dana Kimmel, daughter of the local sheriff, and that was her nightmare. Here's a local bar, a couple of yokels picking on one of the Native Americans.
Hey, old man. Now welcome
A fight breaks out then, when a younger Indian comes in.
Oh, yeah, I want a piece of you.
Come on, look at your fucking eyes at me, motherfucker.
Outside, he runs into the new girl, Melissa.
The old man and you and I can go to party someplace.
She's a little flirty and a little young.
You know, this isn't the best part of town for a little girl, so why don't you just go home?
And she flirts with this guy.
Maybe you'd like to go for a ride.
Maybe I would.
Name's Johnny. This is my truck.
So they go drive off and they're making out in the back of the truck.
Got a cigarette?
And she thought she heard something.
For a ride. and have a
The
couple
party is
beers.
broken up when her father, Patrick
Thanks a
McNee,
lot,
breaks in.
It's a big deal.
My daughter is 15 years old.
I'll be 16 next week.
Johnny's truck stalls a little down the road and he wanders out and gets stabbed in the back. And the front. Melissa then has a nice shower scene. I can't show you that.
Why can't anything exciting?
Dana Kimmel, her brother Steve Anton, they are the kids of the local sheriff played by Bo Hopkins.
Hey, you too hard of hearing him? Come on, let's go. Let's jump.
She said her name was Melissa.
They find Johnny's truck abandoned. They get out, and then they find Johnny. Jason is an obvious suspect since he got into a fight with him at the bar.
We had a little trouble in town last night, and word is that you and Billy Franklin were having some words together.
That's Melissa. She was the last person to see Johnny alive. She might as well take her clothes off. She's beautiful.
Later on, she flirts with this guy named Tommy who says he can get some grass later.
Sure, why not?
Don't be late.
I won't. I'll be there. See you tonight.
As Tommy waits for Melissa to show up, though, that night, he becomes the next victim. So I guess flirting with Melissa is a recipe for disaster. Melissa shows up for her date. They stumble upon Tommy. The older Indian then becomes a suspect. However, he hung himself.
Maybe Greyfeather was in that alley, and maybe he was there all by himself, but he didn't kill anybody. Just like Jason didn't try to kiss you the other night.
Marcy and Melissa have words.
You like to make up stories, don't you? You like the attention that they get you. Well, this time your little story killed someone.
But a minute later, they make up and are friends.
Melissa, if you ever need someone to talk to, you know, just about stuff in general, I'm a good listener.
I never seen nothing like it. 5 exquisite pieces. Go buried with their chiefs.
He's talking about knives. And these are those knives. Well, based on those knives, Jason is arrested. But he isn't going to stay there for long. Sheriff Dan Burke, that's Bo Hopkins, looks at some microfilm in the library from old newspapers to see if he can figure anything out. And he finds a teen suicide at a hospital, a mental hospital. Somehow he figures something out. I'll be damned if I can, though. Now Melissa's going out with the sheriff's son. She wants to go skinny dipping. And uh-oh, there's Jason. Skinny dipping they are. Actually, he's wearing underwears. She's topless. Jason finds 2 other yokels spying on them.
You killed him, didn't you?
Then Hank, the sheriff's son, came to her rescue, but they knocked him out. And then they knocked her out too. And as one of them walks off, this guy becomes the next victim. So who is our killer? Dude comes back. Suddenly, Sheriff's daughter shows up, and that's Melissa's mother, Susan Strasberg.
Scared. Oh, Johnny. I promise you. I promise you. She's so scared. I promise you.
Trisha, let me have Joni now.
They're trying to get the knife away from her, but she stabs herself.
She became Joanne. Is that it?
Yeah. Your wife killed her father to protect Joanne. And then when she died, there was nothing left.
The last scene in the movie is a disturbed Melissa walking into the house. I guess she's gonna carry on her mother's tradition. Okay, let's talk about Sweet 16. Now, this is a horror movie that I used to see occasionally on video store shelves. Never the ones in my area, though. But I never actually saw this movie, never rented it, never copied it, never had a hold of it, never watched it until today. I actually had it on a compilation DVD, though. I have this DVD compilation called Toga Party, which has a bunch of titty movies on it. And one was called Secrets of Sweet 16, which is an actual movie because I have that movie as well. But when you put in Secrets of Sweet 16, it's not Secrets of Sweet 16, which is a German titty movie. Instead, they had Sweet 16 on there, this one. It was an error on the DVD thing. So I've had the movie. It was a really crappy quality, though, so I ended up picking up this one at some point because I wanted to see it. And I'm glad I did. It's a nice little slasher horror movie from the 80s that I'd never seen before. I like coming across those from time to time. We have this girl, Melissa. Basic story here. She's in this new town. Bo Hopkins is the sheriff. Patrick McNee and Susan Strasberg are her parents. And every time that she meets a boy and she kind of flirts with her or goes out with or whatever, that boy ends up being killed shortly thereafter. Now, Melissa is kind of a wild child. She likes to drink and smoke and have sex and go skinny dipping. But she can't figure out why all these people are dying. Neither can the sheriff, neither can anybody else. There's a lot of suspects. There's this Native American in town. They think he might be doing it. Ultimately, to make a long story short, the sheriff somehow does some investigating, looks at some microfilm of some newspapers that happened in the past, and figures out that it's the mother. It's Melissa's mother who is doing this. So he runs out to the woods where his son was actually going out with this Melissa that night. He managed to get stabbed, but he's okay, stabbed in the arm. Then he rescues Melissa just before, well, actually, His daughter was out there too. He has a son and daughter. Daughter was just about to be stabbed by Melissa's mother, but then he rescued that. They was able to get the knife away from the mother, and then presumably she was arrested. And they tell some sort of backstory about what happened. I guess there was a sister involved or something years ago. Did she take her identity? I think that's what they were kind of insinuating. It was hard to figure out. I couldn't figure out how he figured out who the killer was, by the way, by looking at some newspaper microfilm. I just couldn't understand it, but whatever. You can look past that stuff. And the last scene in the movie is Melissa walking into the house, and she's holding a knife like she's going to carry on the tradition of mom. So there you go. Anyway, Sweet 16, it has some pretty decent gore scenes in it as well. Had some nudity in it as well. The actress who plays Melissa, Alicia Shirley. She has some full frontal nude scenes in this movie as well. A shower scene, skinny dipping. Incidentally, Bo Hopkins' son, who was skinny dipping with her at the end, was played by Steve Anton, who the year earlier, before this movie came out, he played Rick in Last American Virgin. That's how I recognize him. And his sister in this movie, played by Dana Kimmel, was one of the stars of Friday the 13th Part 3, I believe. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, again, I like this movie. Code Red put this out. I think Code Red put out a Blu-ray as well, which I think is kind of hard to find, or at least expensive right now if you're looking to get it. But yeah, I'm glad I saw this movie. It was kind of a cool film, and I missed it all these years, but I'm glad to have it now. So check it out. Sweet 16, what do you think of it? Tell me about it. Leave some comments and watch it. Bye.